All right, let's actually pick that apart. Let's see what's going on there. We're in the key of E flat major. For now, E flat major is our 1 chord. F minor is our 2 chord. G minor is our 3 chord. A flat major is our 4 chord. B flat major is our 5 chord. C minor is our 6 chord. D diminished is our 7, and then we return to our 1 chord. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. That's how our numbers work. So I'm going to refer to these chords as numbers. So review that and really get that in your brain before we continue, okay? We're going to start with our 1 chord, and we're going to reduce this to its most basic form. Here's our 1 chord. Moving to a 2 minor 7, 5. That always resolves to the 1. 5. Back to the 1. Here's our 3 minor 7. Down to the 2. 5 chord, we're going to resolve that. Boom. To our 1. Here's our 2. Back to the 1 chord. This is out of key. This is a B minor, but this is going to lead us to an A flat major. That's our 4 chord, so we're stepping a little bit outside of, we're stepping further than we have before, thus far outside of the tonic. But then we go to the 2, which then goes to the 5. And finally we resolve to the 1. So there it is. Let me explain something real quick. Most of the time, you're gonna see this set of chords: 2, 5, and then 1. That's a basic 2-5-1 in jazz harmony. 2 minor 7 followed by the 5 dominant 7, which then always resolves to either the 1, the tonic, or the 1 major 7. In this case, it's E flat major 7. All right. So those are the three functions that we have in harmony, or in tonal harmony. Predominant or subdominant, moving to the dominant, the most tense point, and that always wants to resolve to the 1. So you're setting up a resolution and then resolving it. That's why it sounds so good, and that's why it sounds so, it gives a flow to the music. All right, so that's why you always see a 2 followed by a 5, which is always preceded by a 1. Okay, so now let's spice it up a little bit. Let's add some extensions on there. We're going to start with E flat major 13. Move to our 2 chord, a 2 minor 7, B flat 9, 2. Sorry, let me add this in 2, 5 to the 1. To our tonic, it's a B flat 13 sus. A little bit of different voicing. We're going to return to our tonic. This is going to move to our 3 chord. Let me actually explain what's going on there. We're going to our 3 chord, G minor 7, and we want to move that to the 2 chord, and then we're going to resolve that eventually. But how do you get from G minor 7 from 3 to 2? This is where we started to add secondary dominants and subdominants. So if my goal is to get to F minor 7, I want to add a little bit of motion and provide some tension so that there's something interesting to listen to, okay? And as we know, in functional harmony, the function of a dominant chord is to provide that tension. All right, so what is the dominant chord that would go to F minor 9? What serves as the dominant? Let's try to find the 5 chord. So let's just, this isn't the tonic, but let's just treat this as a 1 for now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we go up 5 notes, we find the dominant of that F minor 7. Okay? That's called a secondary dominant. A dominant chord in the key of E flat is our B flat major 7. A secondary dominant is a dominant chord, a chord that serves the dominant function outside of the key that we're in. In this case, it's C7, which is going to resolve us temporarily to this 2 chord, to this F minor 7. So this is a 5-7 of 2. B flat is the 5/7 of 1. One more time. C7 is the 5/7 of F minor 7. Okay? So that's why we choose it. That's where that comes from. That's why we have that E natural there instead of E flat. And that sounds great. But I'm actually going to add an additional chord to that. I'm going to add a tritone substitution. Look at this secondary dominant, this 5/7 of 2. Let's add the tritone. Let's find the tritone. And by going up 2 minor thirds, we end up on G flat. And that's where that G flat comes from. The reason it sounds so good and the reason that we utilize this is because it's one step, it's a half step up from our goal, which is that F minor 9 there, okay? But it's not necessarily in that order. First we start with our tritone, all right? Then we're gonna move down to our secondary dominant, our 5/7 of 2. There it is, and then finally we arrive at the 2. All right, let's move on. This 2 is we're now back. We're returning to the normal key. All right, so E flat is 1 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back to normal. We are on our 2 chord. What happens to all our 2 chords? We're gonna go to this is the subdominant. We're gonna go to the dominant, and then resolve that. Okay, let me explain what I just did there. That was all a B flat major 7. That was all our 5/7 chord. G minor 11, A flat minor 11, B flat minor 11. Okay. That right there, we're taking a step outside of tonal harmony and we're going into modal harmony. As we know in tonal harmony, this song utilizes tonal harmony, and that means each chord has a function. But when you move into modal harmony, each chord it stands alone. Each chord is its own separate unit. All of these chords, they don't have a function because we're transitioning into modal harmony. All of these, the only analysis that we can give is that they have chordal voicings, which is typical of modal chords, but they're just moving up stepwise and arriving at our dominant chord, which is going to go ahead and lead us back to our, in the context of this piece of music, back to our 1. All right, that's what that is. I'm just moving up, following the melody. All right, now we've returned to our tonic. We're back to tonal harmony. There's our 1 chord, B flat 13 sus, and then I'm gonna step outside the key for a sec. Not the key, a different voicing. I take that back. B flat 7, sharp 5, sharp 9. So if you take a B flat triad, sharp 5 is an F sharp, and sharp 9 is a C sharp. So here you have, there's our sharp 5 right here at the top, and then in the melody we have our sharp 9. Back to our tonic, that was a 5 chord. This is a voicing of our dominant chord. Back to the 1, back to the melody. All right, now we're arriving at this. I want to talk about this for a sec. Normally, thus far, every 5 chord, every B flat chord has been a major triad and an or dominant 7. This right here, we have a B flat minor. So what does that mean? As we know, in a 2-5-1, the 2 is always minor. So this right here, we have a minor chord out of nowhere. This is probably going to go somewhere, and we know where it's going to go. We have to eventually arrive at A flat major. So this is related. Let's treat A flat. This is why you should know your scales. Okay? We'll treat A flat as 1 for now. We're stepping outside of the key for a sec. This is 1. Not outside of the key, outside of our original functional harmony. This right here is 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If I want to do a 2-5-1 to A flat, here's 2, I found 2, here's 5, and then I found, that is going to resolve 2, or 1 for now, which is this A flat here. All right. So if I wanted to go ahead and add all the 7s on there, here's our 2 7. It's a minor 7. Here's our dominant 7. That resolves. All right. Predominant, dominant, and that resolves to a tonic. All right. That's where that B flat minor 7 comes in. All right. So we have our B flat minor 7. We have our dominant, our 5 7 of 4. We want to go to A flat. A flat is our 4 chord in the key of E flat. 1 2 3 4. All right. So we have our 2 of 4, and then we're going to our 5 of 4, and then we're resolving this 5 of 4, this secondary dominant, 2 4. Okay. Now, I'm also going to add an additional chord in there. That additional chord is going to be our tritone substitution. All right, so what did we do earlier when we wanted to go to F minor 7? I added the secondary dominant, and I took that secondary dominant and added a tritone to it, and then I used that chord. All right, we're going to do the same exact thing in this case scenario. So let's take our dominant, our secondary dominant, our 5 7 of 4, and find the tritone. That right there is going to be A. All right, so we're going to add an A chord in there. Now again, this dominant sounds, this tritone substitution of the dominant sounds so good because it slides perfectly into that chord that we're aiming for. Okay, it moves stepwise down. So altogether, it looks like this: 2 of 4 moving to the 5 of 4. The tritone substitution of the 5 of 4 of 4. Now we're going to move to 4. That's an A flat major 13 chord. All right, now from here I want to move to 2, so our F minor 9 chord. I'm going to do a 2 5 1 to our F minor 9, which you've already done before. Here's the G7 sharp 5. Sharp 5, the E flat is sharp because here's our G triad. Sharp 5 is D sharp. C7 sharp 9. Here's our 7. Here's our sharp 9. To our F minor 9 finally. What happens to all the 2 chords? This is going to form a 2 5 1, which then moves to the 5, obviously, to the dominant. And we finally resolve that to the 1 chord. That's what's going on there. All right, let's recap really quick. 1, 2, 5, which resolves back to the 1. 5, different voicing here, B flat 13, sharp 11. Back to the tonic. Here's our G flat minor 7. G flat 13 tritone substitution for the 5 7 of 2. Okay, then we're moving down to, this is our 2 chord, moving to the 5, of course. A little bit of modal. Back to the 1. 5 chord. Beautiful voicing. Which returns to our 1 chord. Minor 7, where does this, not minor 7, sorry. Our usual dominant chord is now moved to minor. Why is that? Because we're setting up a 2 5 1. Here's our 2, which is going to move to A flat eventually, but let's take the 5 7 of the 4, the tritone substitution of that 5 7 of 4, and we'll go finally to the 4. Okay. Now I want to move to F minor 9, so I'm going to set up a 2 5 1 to that F minor 9. So here's our 2 of 2, our 5 7 of 2, moving to the 2 chord. Now I'm on the actual 2 chord.